the credibilities and expectations would become so high, so it becomes a liability to me. So for these two reasons, I don't like a long introduction. I just want to make things a little ease by giving an illustration and straight away go to it. My time has been reduced, so I've been really fast, and I'll try to concise because we were late in the morning. Okay, there was a guy, and he was searching something under a street light. It was 11 in the night. So the policeman, who was actually going on a patrol, so he comes to him and says, "What are you searching for?" He said, "Sir, I lost my key, the key to my room, so I'm searching here." The policeman was honest and he wanted to help the guy, so he started looking for the key with him, and he started asking him questions. What kind of key it is, and do you have a keychain to it, and what kind of keychain you have, and all those questions. And he answered all of them, and then finally the policeman asked, "Well, we searched every possible place this light is showing. Can you just tell me where exactly you lost it and when you lost it?" He said, "I lost it in the morning, I lost it there." Then the policeman said, "If you have lost it there, why are you searching here?" He said, "Because the light is here, that's why I'm searching here." Do you know why I'm giving this illustration? It's very simple. We don't know what we have lost. We don't know where we have lost, but we are trying to search everywhere. We are trying to look for solution everywhere. Man is not able to know what's the diagnostic, but he's able to give the drug. We haven't decoded the problem we are going through, but we have given the direction which we have to take. That's the issue we are facing, my friends. My friends, people have come up with different solutions, presuming the problem is somewhere. For example, somebody said like this, "What's the problem with the world?" The problem with the world is, if you are able to improve the culture of the world, then the problem is solved. John R. W. Stott, he was a very great expositor from United Kingdom. He said like this, "What did culture give to us? When the culture was not developed long time ago, we were living under the trees. As the culture slowly developed, we started having a kind of a shed around us, a kind of a barricade around us. As the culture improved, we started having a gate for that. As the culture improved, we started having a bolt. After the culture improved, we started having a lock and key. As the culture improved, we are not sure of the lock. That's why we tied a dog outside. As the culture improved, we don't even trust the dog. We want to have a security guard. And after the culture improved, we don't trust the dog. We don't believe the security guard. We decided to have a closed circuit camera. And that's what the culture has given us. We lived in a society which is culturally very high. Think about your country, United States of America. Do you trust anything in this world? Nothing. But do you think culture is the solution? I don't think so. And the second one, somebody said like this, probably if the whole world is educated, then the problem is solved. If education is the solution, and illiteracy is the problem, then we should not have any problems with our universities. But if you go into any of our universities, that is the most insecure place in this world. Many of the struggles that happened in the world, whether it is Tiananmen Square in China or the Telangana issue in India, it all started and erupted in campuses. D.L. Moody, a 9th class dropout, he did a great evangelistic work in Chicago City. He's only a 9th class dropout. One day he was flying, and there was an air hostess who recognized D.L. Moody, and she looked at him and said, "Sir, where are you going?" "Oh, well, I'm going to Cambridge." "You? Cambridge?" And she was having a kind of a sarcastic smile. So D.L. Moody realized what's the issue. Then as she came back, he said like this, "Madam, I want to ask you a question. Just imagine you have a son, and he's such a rogue, trying to do all kinds of dirty things under the sun. One fine day comes to you and says, Mommy, you tell me one good thing, I'm willing to do it. And what would you suggest? I would suggest him to go to a university and get a degree. Because it takes a long time, and by that time, all his habits will be solved. And do you know what D.L. Moody said? Sister, if your son is in the habit of getting the nuts and bolts of the railway track before getting into the university, if he gets a university degree and comes out, do you know what he will try to do? He will not go for the nuts and bolts. He will bring the railway track to the home. That's what terrorism is. That's what the kind of world we are living in. It's not culture. It's not education. Or what else is the issue? Is it finances? Is it money? My friends, you earn a lot. You earn a lot when compared to the people in India. Are you having a happy life? Seriously, I'm asking. If money is the solution, all the rich guys in the world must be enjoying their life. But they are not. In the last 10 years, 7 times, this guy, Bill Gates, became the richest person in this world. And you know what he said? What I want, this world doesn't give me, and what I don't want, this world gives me. What I don't want is not money. What I want is satisfaction. Pete Sampras, all-time tennis wonder. He was one guy who was on the top of the world for 284 weeks. And when he was playing for the last time his tennis international game, he lost the game and he was walking out and he was profusely weeping. The whole media was covering him, and they were asking Pete Sampras, Pete, what's the problem? He said, from tomorrow nobody's going to clap for me, and that's my problem. And my question is this: from tomorrow, what for I'm going to live? What for I'm going to live? He has money, he has name, he has fame, but he thinks he lives a meaningless life. Do you think entertainment is going to solve the problem of humanity? You know Shah Rukh Khan? Shah Rukh Khan is Bollywood Badshah. And Shah Rukh Khan was having an interview with Karan Thapa. And in that interview, Karan Thapa, who asked very shrewd questions, looks at Shah Rukh, and it's a 30 minutes long interview. And he was coming to the last 6 minutes. You can even you can check your YouTube and listen to this conversation with Karan Thapa and Shah Rukh. And he looks at Shah Rukh and says, Shah Rukh, I read somewhere that before you came into the film world, you were a lonely person. The shocking answer from him was this: yes, before I came into the media world, I was a lonely person. Even after coming into the media world, I'm a lonely person. You, a lonely person? Yeah, I'm a lonely person. I can't stay alone. I don't like to be with people. And you appear to be a bubbly guy. You appear to be very smiling. And the whole world tries to imitate you. And Shah Rukh looks at him and says, yeah, that's the funniest part I can't understand. Because in the movies, I try to imitate somebody. In the movies, I try to imitate somebody. I'm never Shah Rukh Khan in the movies. I'm never Shah Rukh Khan. And you guys want to imitate me. I can't understand. And that's the world we are living in. And then Karan asks him this question: are you happy with your life? Are you satisfied? Satisfaction, according to me, is something like this. If a man is climbing the mountain, when he reaches the pinnacle, he just posts a flag and walks down. And for me, satisfaction is posting the flag. Once you post the flag, what all you have to do is climb down. I don't want to climb down. So I never think I have reached the pinnacle. I'm always climbing. I'm always struggling. I'm always living for a day. I don't have a goal. I don't have a purpose. I don't know what will satisfy me. That's the greatest entertainer of the world says. He has surpassed Tom Cruise 2 years ago as the leading entertainer of the world. And he says, I don't have meaning. I don't have purpose. I don't know what for I'm living. My friends, what's the solution? Before we actually tell what's the solution, probably we have to find out what's the reason for the problem of humanity. For that, I want to go back to a great man called Apostle Paul. We started the journey of the book of Romans yesterday. In the first 17 verses, Paul gives a kind of a teaser to the main issue called the gospel of God. That's what we looked at yesterday. It was only a teaser. It was only an opener. It was only a kind of an inauguration. But now, once that inauguration is over, he now launches into the main issue. Hey guys, do you know what's the main problem? You might be sitting on the 7 hills. You might be the leader for the whole world. You might be the one who gives the direction to the whole world. But do you know where the problem is? And now that's where he starts, my friends. And now if you have your Bibles, open with me to Romans chapter 1. We'll very quickly look at a couple of verses and try to look at what's the main reason for the problem of humanity. Why there is sickness around us. Why there is no peace around us. Why there are wars. Why there are diseases. Why there are struggles. Why there are rapes. Why there are issues around the world. Why there is no joy for humanity. Where is the solution? What is God doing? Is he silent? Is he dead? Is he not there? These are the possible questions that can erupt in such a situation. If that's the situation, let's look at verse 18. My friends, Romans letter was written to the Greco-Roman culture. In the Greco-Roman culture, when you are writing something, they follow a journalistic method. Do you know what's the journalistic method? The journalistic method is they give on the top the heading. And once the heading is given, they go into the description. In the beginning, God created heaven and earth. That's the heading. And from verse 2 onwards is the description. In the same way, verse 18 is the heading. And from verse 19 to the end of the chapter, it's the description. So I'll try to dwell more on verse 18. Don't get panicked and try to look at this. For the wrath of God is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men, who by their unrighteousness surpass the truth. Now Paul, he gives the main issue. What is the problem and where lies the issue? So that's the question. He says, for the wrath of God is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men, who by that unrighteousness surpass the truth. You might be wondering, when I give the main reason what Paul gives here. He says, the problem of humanity is because of one thing. What is it? It's the wrath of God. For a Christian to declare a statement like, God is angry, is very difficult. Because we Christians presume that God is always loving. We presume that God is always gracious. We presume that God is always merciful. Yes, it's true. God of Bible is merciful. God of Bible is gracious. God of Bible is loving. But you should also understand, God of Bible has one very important character from which the love comes out. And that character is holiness. God is holy. God is holy. And holiness is the overarching character of God. God is holy. God is holy. From that holiness comes out love. And in holiness and love, when they go together, you have an area where the anger comes. A lot of young people are there. You can easily understand this. Just imagine you are dating a girl, okay? And I'm using the terminology you can easily understand. Just imagine you are dating a girl or you are dating a man, and you are in a kind of a romantic love that's very high, and you are in high emotional spirits, and you love each other. And one day you just come out and you find your girl being taken away on a bike by somebody else. And this girl is holding him very tightly. And how do you react to it? Do you say, okay, let her enjoy? Will you say that? You can't. You can't. If you have a love towards that girl, and if that love is pure, if that love is personal, you become possessive. Our God is possessive, you know that? He's very possessive. Because he's possessive, if you don't love him, if you don't act the way he is expecting you, he will be angry with you. He will be angry with you. And that's what the Bible says. God's wrath is being revealed from heaven. Against what? Against somebody who is surpassing the truth. That's the main issue. How can you surpass the truth? In two ways. You can overstate or you can understate. You can either overstate or you can understate. That is surpassing the truth. అయితే ఎక్కువ చెప్తారు లేకపోతే తప్పు చెప్తారు. రెండే రెండు రకాలు. These are the two ways you can surpass. If I want to hit that person who is controlling the television, I can miss him only in two ways. Either the stone will cross over him or the stone may not reach him. These are the only two ways. And those are the two reasons he gets. One is ungodliness, the other one is unrighteousness. Bhaktihinata durniti. What is ungodliness? Something that should be there between me and my God. That's ungodliness. What is unrighteousness? Something that should exist between me and my fellow beings. And when these two are disturbed, when these two are not in the right proportion, God becomes angry. And his anger is always consistent. It's always there. God never changes. God is always holy. And God always has that anger. God's anger is upon countries. God's anger is upon families. God's anger is upon cultures. God's anger is upon single people. Why? Because they are surpassing the truth either through ungodliness or through unrighteousness. My friends, as I'm going to expound it further, I want each one of you to examine your lives. Imagine that you are sitting before God, trying to have a conversation with him, try to look into his eyes and try to imagine what would be his reaction when he looks at your life. You cannot fake yourself. You cannot fool yourself. You know what you are. You know where you are. And let us see what exactly is this ungodliness. From verse 19 and 20. For what can be known about God is plain to them because God has shown it to them. For his invisible attributes, namely his eternal power and divine nature, have been clearly perceived ever since the creation of the world in the things that have been made, so they are without excuse. What Paul is trying to say from verse 20 is this. Everybody in this world knows that God exists. Everybody knows. Whether you are educated or uneducated, whether you go to church or don't go to church, whether you live in a city or living in a jungle, wherever you are, everybody has a reason to know that God exists. And what are the two reasons he is giving? What are the two parameters which gives us a conclusion that God exists? Verse 20 says like this. For his invisible attributes, namely his eternal power and divine nature, have been clearly perceived ever since the creation of the world. One is the eternal power, the second one is the divine nature. When you look at the world outside, you can understand the great power of God, the eternal power of God. When somebody brings you a sweet, somebody brings you a curry, when somebody brings you a biryani, the moment you eat the first time, and if it's very delicious, the question that comes from you is this: where from you got it? Who made it? If the dish is delicious, the question is, who is the maker? If the song is good, the question is, who sang it? If the movie is good, who produced it? If the gadget is good, where from you got it? If the dress is good, who is the tailor? And if the world is good, the question is, who is the maker? That's a simple logic. That's a simple logic. And we have been taught in the colleges that God is dead. We have removed God, and we have started giving solutions. We started giving answers that we have created ourselves. We have evolved ourselves. Is it not a crazy proposition? How can you make yourself? You are not there, and then you are there. Is it possible? It's a crazy proposition. Many years ago, we were having a debate in Hyderabad. And it's a very simple logic, and I liked it so much. So the debate is between a group of atheists and a group of Christians. And among the group of Christians, I was one of them. And with me is a man called Emmanuel Haq, the son of Akbar Haq, who was previously with Billy Graham. He recently died. Emmanuel Haq, he did his astrophysics PhD from Minnesota University. So he was one of the persons from the Christian side. So the discussion went for one day, and it was into the second day. Some of the questions he was raising and some of the propositions he was giving were excellent. So when we were having food, I just looked at Dr. Emmanuel Haq, and I asked him this question: Sir, you did your PhD in astrophysics. So can you tell me what made you to look with bewilderness, with awesomeness, and said, wow, when you look at the creation, when you look at the world as an astrophysicist, what really surprised you? Without even wasting a second, he looked at me and said, the earth rotating around the sun is really surprising for me. I thought, what is this? I learned it when I was in year 3. And this man speaks about it after PhD. The way I was looking at him, he realized that I was not taking it serious. He said, Edward, let me describe it to you why it surprises me. I said, yes, sir. Just imagine the sun is there and the earth goes around. If the earth was going in one circle, do you know, half the world would have been dead. Out of 26,000 species, 22,000 species won't have been existing. I said, why? Because there will be only one climate. Because we have 4 climates. We have 26,000 kinds of animals. Us all would have been dead. I said, what? I'm not able to understand. The earth doesn't go round. It goes in an elliptical way. It goes in an elliptical way. Okay, what's the big deal about it? Because it goes in the elliptical way. When it comes very close to sun, you have summer. When it goes very far away from sun, you have winter. That's how we have 4 seasons, and that's how we have so many kinds of animals, so many kinds of plants, and all those things. I said, okay. And then he said like this, the most important thing is this: whenever man created something that mobile, that moves, whenever man created something that moves, it met with an accident within a couple of months. Anything. A bullock cart, a cycle, a car driven by horse, a car, a bus, a lorry, a train, a ship, a spaceship, anything, a rocket, an aeroplane, chopper, anything that moves, it met with an accident. But God created one moving thing, it never met with an accident. I said, what it is? It's the earth. It moves. The whole earth, the whole big earth, it moves. It moves. It moves. And it never misses its mark. I said, what happens if it misses its mark? The earth is so big, so big, so big, but it has an orbit. It never misses the orbit. It never. What happens if it misses the orbit? I said, let me tell you. Just imagine if the earth is very close to sun, you have summer. Imagine the earth moved only 1 foot inside. Do you know what happens? The hottest climate in the world usually will be in 3 places. One is in California, it's called Death Valley. The other one is in Kuwait, and the third one is in Pakistan. These are the 3 hottest places in the world. They reach up to 128 or 130. That's the hottest climate. And imagine if the earth moves 1 foot, the variation would be 20 degrees. That means it reaches 150. It reaches 150. Because I had an experience. I was in Kuwait, moving into the border of Saudi Arabia. On that day, the temperature was 127. And that was in the daytime. But I was going in the evening at about 5 o'clock. At that time, the temperature was 124. So I stepped out of the car and I just wanted to check how it feels when it is so hot. My friend brought an egg. He broke the egg on the road and in 11 minutes, it became an omelette. And that's only 124. It's only 124. Imagine what would be if it's 150. My friend Emmanuel said, it takes 37 minutes to dry up the whole ocean. 37 minutes. After 37 minutes, there's no liquid on this face of the earth. If the earth moves 1 foot. And then, what happens if the earth is at the farthest point? If it moves 1 foot away, the variation would be 20 degrees. The coldest climate in the world is in Siberia. They give it in centigrade. It's it's minus 69. That's the coldest. In my life, the coldest climate I experienced was minus 26 when I was in Ukraine. Minus 26. I was having 6 layers of cloth, 6 layers to protect myself. Still, I was shivering. And the coldest climate in Siberia, when it is minus 69, you can check it in Google. To show the intensity of coldness, do you know what they try to do? They throw the water, boiling water, into the air. And you know what happens? The water doesn't fall. The ice balls fall. If you throw the boiling water up. And that's only minus 69. But if the earth moves 1 foot away, it would be minus 89. The whole world would be like Antarctica. And in 4 minutes, the whole world will be freezed. In 4 minutes. Do you know, if God is not protecting this globe, if God is not protecting this earth to be in its orbit, we would have been dead. That's one proof to say that God is there with eternal power. So when you see the creation, you can understand God's eternal power. And he also says his invisible attributes, namely his eternal power and divine nature. When you look outside, you see the power. But for nature, where you have to look in. Conscience. Conscience is one thing that separates humanity from the rest of the creation. Conscience is one thing that separates humanity from the rest of the world. I'll give you 2 examples to make you understand what conscience is. I was having a debate with a PDSU guy. PDSU is a student wing that is actually supported by the Naxalite movement in Telangana area. I was speaking to one of the leaders in Nalgonda, and it was a very hot debate, and the debate is on the existence of God, and it went for nearly 45 minutes. He raised so many questions. I tried to answer him. After nearly 45 minutes, I said, "Sir, you asked so many questions. Can I ask you a couple of questions?" He said, "Go ahead." I said, "I'm going to ask these questions not to trouble you, not to put you in a problem, but only for the sake of discussion. So please don't misunderstand me." He said, "Yes, go ahead." I heard that you're going to marry soon. He said, "Yes, but is it a problem?" I said, I'm not saying it's a problem. I just wanted to know whether it's true or not." "Yes, I want to marry." Yes, I want to marry." Then I said, "I came to know that you loved a girl and that's why you want to marry her. So what? Is loving a girl a problem?" I said, "I'm not saying it's a problem. I just wanted to know whether you're right or wrong." "Yeah, I loved a girl and I wanted to marry her. I came to know the girl whom you love is a very beautiful one. So what? I liked her because she's okay, no problem. She's beautiful. You love her. That's why you want to marry her. So when you saw her, it's probably love at first sight. Am I right? Yes, it's love at first sight. Have you ever watched your mother like that? Have you watched your sister anytime like that? What do you mean? I said, yes. Don't you love your mother on the first sight in the same way? Don't you love your sister on the first sight in the same way? What are you saying? I said, I'm just asking, man. Why you are loving a girl who's outside? Why not somebody who is inside your family? And he looked at me and said, I'm a human being. How can I do that? That's my whole question is. If you're a dog, you don't care whether it's your mother or sister. If you're a cat, if you're a fish, if you're a bird, you don't care. But because you're a human being, you have this question. Not that one, only this one. That's called conscience. Recently, very horrible thing happened in India. A 9-month-old baby was raped. 9-month-old baby was raped. The baby was taken upstairs, and that guy raped that girl. And when the children heard the cries, they came and they beat that fellow and took the baby to the hospital. On the way, the baby died. How do you react to this? What's happening to humanity? How do you respond to this? We have killed our conscience. And that's why we lost not only the divine nature, but the human essence. The human essence. Last year, in Delhi, a 4-year-old girl, she comes back from school and she was weeping. The mommy said, why you are weeping? Mommy, can you come into my toilet? When she went to the toilet, when she was removing her clothes, she saw blood in her private parts. She said, what happened? My friend took me inside the toilet and he used a pencil and he abused me. What do you say this? Am I cooking up a story? When this news has come on the newspaper, people said it's the media that need to be questioned. Well, I agree, media is at fault. Exactly 2 weeks later, in Calcutta, a 4-year girl comes back home with bleeding, and mommy asked, what's the problem? She started crying, please tell me. And she says, my PET teacher took me inside the toilet and did something. She's 26 years old. Do you find fault with the media? Now tell me. We killed our conscience and we killed God. Do you have Alexa in your home? Do you use Hey Google in your home? Have you started using Siri in your mobile? Ask this one question to these 3 fellows. Either Hey Google or Alexa or Siri. One question, you don't get an answer. Do that question, who is Jesus? Ask that question. Google says, I don't know. Alexa says, I'm sorry. Siri says, I think he's a popular guy. You ask about Rama, the mythical figure, they give a long list of answers. You ask about Krishna, who is an imaginary character, they give an answer. You ask about Buddha, you ask about Marx, you ask about Bin Laden, everyone you get an answer. But when you ask about Jesus, no. We have removed God from our gadgets. We have removed God. And do you know what happened? When people have lost that godliness, what is the result? Verse 21 onwards. For although they knew God, they did not honor him as God or give thanks to him, but they became futile in their thinking, and their foolish hearts were darkened. Claiming to be wise, they became fools and exchanged the glory of the immortal God for images resembling mortal man and birds and animals and creeping things. You remove God, what happens? The space won't be empty. Either somebody has to sit or something has to sit. If nobody, you have to sit there. I am my God. That's what some people think. He is my God. She is my God. It is my God. You have your own gods. And that's the problem of humanity. They removed God, they killed God, they created their own God. When I was doing my high school, I used to have a girlfriend. And in my school days, when the girlfriend is sitting, if I used to sing a song, I used to sing with a lot of passion. And all my friends liked it because my girlfriend also used to enjoy that. And that's a very romantic song in those days, long time ago. But now I understood how foolish that song is. If you have to truly understand, I have to say it in Telugu. I'm sorry, but let me say it. Hrudayamane kovelalo ninu kolichani devataka. Hrudayamane kovelalo ninu kolichani devataka. My heart is a temple, and in that temple, you are my goddess. God created a temple and said, that's my place. Do you know what he did? Hey, get lost, man. You pushed God away and you brought your own God. And you're worshipping that God. I don't know who that God is. If God is standing before you, if God is sitting before you, if God is talking to you, if your eyeball is meeting the eyeball of God, what would you say? Will you bow down your head? Will you just move away your eyelids? Will you just say, get away from me? We are living a godless life. Going to church doesn't mean that you believe in God. Reading Bible doesn't mean that you trust God. Praying November doesn't mean that you have a clear connection with God. You might be doing all these things, yet you may not be having God in your heart. God's wrath would be definitely upon you. And now, having said this, if you don't have God in your heart, if you're godless, what happens? Therefore, God gave them up in the lusts of their hearts to impurity, to the dishonoring of their bodies among themselves. Because they exchanged the truth about God for a lie and worship and serve the creature rather than the Creator who is blessed. God hates. And sometime back, I think it's from Dallas. Yeah, I think it's from Dallas. One sister was chatting with me. She married an American. I don't think she's here. If she has come, she would have met me. And she asked me this question. We are earning in a decent way. My husband works about 17 to 18 hours a day, and even I work about 15 to 16 hours a day. I want to ask you this question. Is it wrong to earn more? Where do I start? Ask her why you want to earn. Why? What's the purpose? You tell me. Is eating food wrong? I asked. She said no. But what happens if you eat more? She was silent. Is sleeping good? Yes. But if you sleep more, earning is good. But if you want to earn more, a dil mange more. There's no end to it. If you fall into the trap of earning more, you're gone. My friends, I have seen very passionate preachers, very passionate preachers, very pious preachers, right before my eyes. They were once preaching very good, they were once declaring the word of God in a big way, but when they are caught up in this earn more, they're gone. They're gone. It is not only how you earn, it's also why you earn. Here he says, they gave them up, God gave them up in the lusts of their hearts to impurity, to the dishonoring of their bodies. They looked at each other, and instead of enjoying in the family, enjoying in the matrimony, enjoying the concept of sex between wife and husband, they want to degrade their bodies. Figure adripoindra. Katarnaak picture. Super. Where from you got it? And you try to use all kinds of words which really put God down. Nee pedalu dondapandu lekkunnaye, nee kaallu mulakkalu lekkunnaye, nee potta aanapakaya lekkunde, nee cheflu beerakayalu lekkunnaye, nee talakaya sorakaya lekkunde. It is total agricultural department. Ika aana zoological department. నువ్వు చింపాంజీ లెక్కున్నావు, నువ్వు ఒంటి లెక్కున్నావు, నువ్వు గుర్రం లెక్కున్నావు, నువ్వు లేడి లెక్కున్నావు. ఇటు టోటల్ జువాలజీ. Where is humanity? You look at each other and they make statements like this. Where is humanity? And how God feels. It's degrading of the bodies. My friends, every day I at least respond to 200 to 300 calls. Every day. Every day. And I am saying it with confidence. Among 200 to 300 calls, 50 calls would be having one of these problems. Either porn addiction or breaking of relation. Either porn addiction or breaking of relation. I know some of you sitting here might be addicted to pornography. Do you know why you are addicted to pornography? You kill God, you remove God, and your heart is empty. It has to be filled by something. And you are looking for something that gives you a kick. And that's why you want to look at the body in a dirty possible way. You might be going to church. You might be a choir member. But still you might be addicted to pornography. God gave you up. Look at that phrase. God gave you up. God removed his hands and said, get lost, man. God gave you freedom and he doesn't want to take it. God is very decent. He will never force anybody. He will never pressurize anybody. He will plead. He will request. He will weep. But if you don't respond, he leaves you. Have you been left out? Now let's look at this second stage. Verse 26. For this reason, God gave them up to dishonorable passions. For their women exchanged natural relations for those that are contrary to nature. And the men likewise gave up natural relations with women and were consumed with passion for one another. Men committing shameless acts with men and receiving in themselves the due penalty for their error. I'm reading this verse this month, what I mean, June 2019. June 2019 is special month. It's the month of pride for LGBT community. 32 countries in Africa adopted LGBT. Just few days back. LGBT, you are wondering what it is? Lesbians, gays, bisexual, and transgenders. In India, we have one athlete from Odisha. Her name is Dutti Chand. She's a 100 meters athlete runner. And she's the first one to declare openly her relation with a 19-year-old girl. With pride. If you read her Wikipedia, you look at it, I'm so happy the government has given me the freedom to declare my religion. And if you have in your office a colleague who has a gay relation or lesbian relation, you can't raise a question. You can't talk about it. You can't ask anything. You have to just release, just accept. God gave them up. God gave them up. California and USA, which is completely rampant with this kind of culture, wanted to just abolish Bible from their state. Why? Because whenever they look at the Bible, whenever they look at these scriptures, they are feeling guilty, they are stuck. My friends, though I'm speaking so vehemently about LGBT community, God gave me a burden, me and my wife, God gave me a heart to minister to them. We have 12 churches for LGBT community in Andhra Pradesh. I love them. I love them. I'm not a pro-gay. I'm not a gay. I'm a clean person. I'm straight. But I love them. I want to tell them they have a solution in Jesus Christ. They have been given up. And the third one, verse 28. And since they did not see fit to acknowledge God, God gave them up to debased mind to do what ought not to be done. They were filled with all manner of unrighteousness, evil, covetousness, malice. They are full of envy, murder, strife, deceit, maliciousness. They are gossips, slanderers, haters of God, insolent, haughty, boastful, inventors of evil, disobedient to parents, foolish, faithless, heartless, ruthless. At least 19 kinds of things have been described there. You don't obey your parents. You don't keep up your words. You try to say more than what you have. You try to hide what you have. You are not free to give. You don't keep your promise. All this, the third category. They have a mind that has been completely debased. They have thrown away God. My friends, have you come to that stage? If you have come to that stage, you have to understand you have thrown away God. Are you not happy with your life? Are you not satisfied? Are you not successful? Are you not able to move forward? Are you not having a life that is easily shared with anybody else? You are living a secluded life. You are living a life that is always covered. You are living a double life, boring inside and bubbly outside, horrible inside and happy outside. It's because you have thrown God out. And see the last verse, the horrible. Though they knew God's righteous decree that those who practice such things deserve to die, they not only do them, but give approval to those who practice them. In this world, it's very easy to entice somebody to smoking, to entice somebody to boozing, to entice somebody to get into drugs. It's very easy, but it's very difficult to stop somebody. It's very difficult if you want to stop. Just imagine, you have 4 or 5 people sitting around, all of your colleagues. You go there and say, hey, I want to have a booze, I want to have a smoke. There'll be 4 or 5 proposals, 4 or 5 suggestions. But in the same group, if you try to say, hey, I decided to quit smoking, I decided to quit boozing, do you know what would be the reaction? Oh. Is it true? Don't joke, man. Are you kidding? Is something wrong with you today? Did you sleep well? If you want to get spoiled, there will be 100 people to support you. If you want to get right, you have to do it alone. I want to tell you this. You have to do it alone. My friends, that's the wrath of God.
The world is facing the consequence. As cultures, communities, countries. Look at USSR. Some of you may not be knowing the word USSR. It was USSR till 1992. It disintegrated into so many countries. And now we have one country which is almost useless, Russia, with a begging bowl. In the year 1992, there were two superpowers, one USA, the other one USSR. When an Apollo goes into the space, there will be a Sputnik going there. That's how they were competing with each other. But for 70 years, USSR was teaching its country one thing: God is there. God is there. After 70 years, they had a bowl to beg. God's anger is on Russia because they removed God. And soon, USA will follow. Am I prophesying? Am I predicting? Am I the prophesying, not predicting? This is logic. If you throw a stone up, it will fall down. In the same way, if you reject God, you're bound to face the consequence. The nation has rejected. The nation has rejected. And look at India. It's going through one of the toughest situations in its whole history. Why? It has so many gods and goddesses. The true God is thrown away. The only God is thrown away here. As a nation, they're going to face the problem. Forget about the nations. Think about your family. Think about yourself. Have you rejected God? Have you thrown away God? Are you godless? Are you unrighteousness? It's because God gave you up. When God gave you up, He's waiting for you there. He's waiting for you there. And when you come back, He receives. I want to read one verse and then conclude. Romans chapter 6, verse 23. The wages of sin is death. You know this very famous verse. What do you mean by wages? It's what you get as a reward for the whole day's work, for a week-long work, for a month-long work. It's what you earn. You work and you got it. That's called wages. And in this, how do you understand it figuratively? You worked out and you achieved a place in hell. జీవితంలో ఏం సంపాదించావురా? కష్టపడి నరకంలో సీటు సంపాదించావు. That's what anybody can say. కష్టపడి అన్నా కష్టపడ్డాని ఏం సంపాదించినావురా? ఫస్ట్ క్లాస్ సీట్ వచ్చింది మనకి. ఇక్కడ నరకంలో ఎగ్జిక్యూటివ్ క్లాస్ దొరికిందన్నా మనకి. That's it. That's what everybody can say. The wages of sin is death. But now hear the context. But the gift of God is eternal life in Jesus Christ. God, to the person who is experiencing hell, brings in a solution. And He says, hey, I have a gift with me. Okay? What's that gift? You receive it. You accept it. When do you receive a gift? Just imagine, I'm giving a gift to you. You don't mind taking. Just imagine I give an i10 mobile to you. Oh, thank you so much, you will say. But imagine if I'm Bin Laden and if I give you an i10 mobile, will you take it? No? Why? It's the same mobile. But you don't like it because you don't trust the giver. If you trust the giver, you will receive the gift. The gift of God. Here God is giving a gift. And you know what's the gift? The gift is Jesus Christ. The gift is Jesus Christ. And in Jesus Christ is the eternal life. If you receive Jesus Christ, you have eternal life. My friends, I don't know what kind of life you're going through. Probably you are living a godless life. Probably you are living an unrighteous life. If you want to change your life today, right at this moment, you can invite Jesus into your hearts. Let me share one illustration and conclude. know this magazine called Reader's Digest? In the Reader's Digest, there's one issue. It's called Drama in Real Life. I like that very much because there are real incidences, but you have something to learn from it. This is one of the stories from the drama in real life. It's from London. There is a father and he has a 13-year-old son. We don't know about the mother. Either she left or she died. This father is taking care of this son and he's very comfortable and good. One day, the son was making some mistake, not able to respond to him, whatever it is. So the father punished him and the father went from the fields to his home. In the evening, he expected the son to come. He did not come. That night he slept. Next day, the son did not come. Third morning, he's really bothered. He's worried. So he decided to do something. I want to tell my son, I'm so sorry. I don't mean, I just wanted to correct you, that's all. Come back home. I love you so much. But he doesn't know how to communicate. He decided to do one thing. He wanted to write a letter to his son and print it in the local newspaper. So he drafted the letter. He took one of the pictures of his son and he drafted the letter. My dear son, I love you so much. When I scolded you, it's not intentional, it's not intense. I only wanted to correct you. I love you so much. Please forgive me. Come back home. So that's the letter and his daddy. Then he thought for a while, if my son's friends see this picture, they may feel bad about my son. So he removed the picture. Some of the friends can recognize from the name and from my name. So what he decided was, after a long discussion with himself, he came to a conclusion, well, I'll draft a letter without names. My dear son, I love you so much. I'm so sorry for scolding you. I don't intend to do it. Please come back home. I'm waiting for you. You may be wondering whether it's me or not. So I have a solution. What I will do is this. In the night at 11 o'clock, I'll be waiting for you at the Times Square Center. Right underneath the clock. I'll be standing there. You can watch me from distance. If you find me, come there. The moment I see you, I'll run to you. I'll hug you. I'll kiss you. I'll accept you. I'll be waiting. That's the letter that got printed. So evening, what he decided was this. If I go at 11 o'clock, what if my son comes 5 minutes early and goes away? So he decided to reach the clock tower at 10:45. He was standing there at 10:45. He was waiting till 11:15. His son did not turn up. He got really worried. With a sad face, he decided to move away. And right behind him is the clock. And behind the clock, there were 16 guys standing there. He looked at them and said, hey guys, what are you doing at this time here? And the guy said, sir, we are waiting for our daddy. 16 guys waiting for the daddy, and the daddy was not there. Here is the daddy waiting for the son. The son did not come. My friends, today Jesus says, I love you. I love you. You have come to this conference to receive me, to receive my love. Please don't deny me. You have denied me all these days. At least now allow me. Would you like to invite Jesus into your heart? Shall we bow down our heads, close our eyes? The wrath of God is against all ungodliness and unrighteousness. Who is there in your heart? Who is your passion? Who is your desire? Have you thrown God out? What kind of passions do you have? What kind of lifestyle you have? What kind of heart you have? Is it completely unrighteous, unholy? My friends, even at this situation, there is a solution. Jesus loves you. God loves you. He wants to change your life, give you a new beginning, give you the ultimate satisfaction, provided you invite Him into your house. I know you might be taken it by surprise, but I want to do it intentionally, purposefully, prayerfully. Do you want to invite Jesus into your heart today? If you want to invite Jesus into your heart, say to Him, Jesus, please come into my heart. Please come into my heart. I'm so sorry. I threw you out. Forgive me. Forgive me. Come into my heart. That's a simple prayer. Is there anyone who wants to pray that prayer with me? If you want to do that, can you just show your right hand and put it down? Anybody here? Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much. I want to give one more opportunity and close. Is there somebody who is struggling here? Going through a kind of a warfare inside? If you're the one, God doesn't want to lose you today. Probably this is the last opportunity. I'm not trying to blackmail you emotionally, but trying to help you to make a decision. One last opportunity. Is there anyone else? Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. All those who have lifted their hands, can you put your right hand on your heart? All those who lifted your hands, can you put your right hand on your heart? Can you repeat this prayer after me? Why we need to pray like this? The Bible says, the book of Romans chapter 10 says, if you believe in your heart and confess with your mouth, you will be saved. You believed in your heart. That's why you're keeping your hand on the heart. And now you say it with your mouth. Because that's the procedure God has given to us. And we'll follow it. Say this small prayer. Jesus, thank you so much that you spoke to me. Jesus, I'm so sorry. I threw you out. I confess I'm living an unrighteous life. Forgive me. Come into my heart. Cleanse me. Give me a new life. In Jesus' name.